So we're back. That I thought were more appropriate armor, more blue.
There is no way that I am going to let this happen again. I am going to look after Primrose. Nothing is going to get past me.
I feel like I'm collecting bed sores. Note to self, jiggle around a bit more. Anyway, something odd, really odd, happened today. Long and wiggly, like a snake or a Gothic symbol. Did she think I wouldn't notice? I didn't say anything in case she got angry again, and she treated me like I was 5.
That
I've never really had a problem with being bored. I read, I write, and there's always my friends. My friends were a gift from my dad. A little apology before the utter scumbag ran away. When I read a book, some of them I don't care much for. I've learned to keep them locked in their books. But Thok and the others, I couldn't be without them.
Dad was drunk. If that way. Nothing? What a
Hannibus was the first of my friends to appear from the books. Scared the animal right out of me. One minute I was reading, the next there was a lizard man leaning over to get a better look at the book. I screamed, of course. Mum came in and told me it was a fever, that I was seeing things. Even I couldn't make up a 5-foot lizard reading books about himself. I wished Megan could see them. Baba, Thok, Jilly, Hannibus. Perhaps they would have made her happy, just as much as they made me.
Let's talk.
Thok was one of my favorites. He knew it, of course, and would wander around the house beating his chest, calling himself Primrose's champion. He was going to protect me from everything, and everything was a potential threat. A twitch in a curtain was a ghost. A slammed door was a demon. I tried to tell him that demons had better things to do than playing with doors, but he'd look at me slyly and say, "That's what they want us to think." I was so much happier having him around, and not just because of the threat of door demons.
Champion? Lizard? Look, dirty. Oh, demon.
There was one story I never read. It was about a demon, a hateful thing. This demon would thrive on the misery of others, but not by consuming that evil or anything like that. She was miserable herself, and she would bring others into her own misery so that she could share it. She would bask in that shared misery. But to know her was to defeat her. To say her name was to stab her through the heart. Her name was Meetum. I made the mistake of reading the book once, bringing her to life. But I said her name aloud, and she was gone.
Meet him. Ah, oh. It'll glows. Recognizes the name, but now it's not. Hmm. Well, what does she know about Gale?
She was so beautiful. It was breathtaking. I mean, she was scary too. She was about twice as big as me, even without me being hunched, and had 100 times the strength and 1,000,000 times the magic. I desperately wanted to meet her and get to know her. I felt it in my belly, right next to my sickness.
That is.
There's a story in one of the books. It was the only one Mum liked to read to me. It's about a giant, Dubbo, who keeps a flock of sheep. Each day, one runs away. He can't understand why. He treats them so well. So, he eats that runaway sheep. In one go, pop! To send a message to the others. But they keep running away. And he keeps eating them. Pop, pop, pop. That sheep, Baba, puts up with the feeding, the throwing, the taps on the head. Does nothing. And Dubbo's, what's wrong? Why won't you? So he goes, still. I like having Baba around the house as one of my friends. She visits and we chat. She's a real gossip, you know. Doing anything for more than a few minutes is the ultimate pain in the backside. My lungs burn. My knees go to jelly. I just fall over and want to go to sleep. Mum used to get medicines. It took all of our money to do it, but I wasn't going to convince her to stop. Megan's the only one who changes Megan's mind. The medicines would let me leave the bed, for a few days at least, and it would bring a smile to my mum, which was, you know, something. Then I'd be back. I had the idea, and we can't afford it now anyway. Not now Mum's given up the job at the Wizard's Tower. Huh. I wonder if I could make a simple strength potion. Just your average homemade strength potion. Would that work?
Sheep.
Baba came hopping into my room. Always made me laugh. She doesn't walk, more bounces. But I could see from her expression that something wasn't right. She lost her footing and tumbled into my sideboard, knocking over a medicine bottle. She told me that Jilly had found something, and that I should come right away.
Gilly.
Jilly Willikers had a series
Oh,
of books,
Jilly.
but I only ever kept one. It was Jilly Willikers and the Time Key, the first one. I liked Jilly. He never treated my illness seriously. He'd walk around with wobbly arms and legs pretending to be me. But Jilly had become serious. It was only after pushing him that I found out why. He knew something. And my other friends had to push him to tell me. He said that he had found a diary, my mum's diary, in her cloak and had opened it, hoping to find a new friend for me to play with.
Diary.
I took a dose of strength potion and, completely inelegantly, made my way to Mum's bedside table, just as Jilly had told me. I couldn't quite understand what I was reading. On each day of the diary, there were multiple entries, written in tiny text and boxed off from each other. I looked for yesterday's date. Again, there were multiple entries for one day. One was familiar. It talked about the pie she had made and noted that she thought I looked healthier, having eaten it. But I didn't recognize the other entries for yesterday. They were events I didn't recognize, an argument we never had, a visit to the wizard's tower, a burning of the pie. Then I looked at tomorrow's entry, the 30th. The book was completely blank after that date.
Her mother had been. Wait, hold on. We have 3 times she's gone back. So we had the original entry, where she made the pie and she liked it. That's this one we're on. The burnt pie, which she has been at. And then tomorrow would be the day she go back again. Okay. So we've done 3 time skips.
And every entry on the 30th, of which there were many, was the same.
Any?
The return. The return.
Oh no.
The return. The return. The return.
She returned 5 times.
It was the 30th. The day of the return. Whatever in all Gillinall that was. I resolved to follow Mum on her nightly trip out of the house. Hannibus gave me his lance, Thok his shield. I knew they would both disappear as soon as I left the house, but I thanked them anyway. The door closed as my mum left. I pulled a dark cloak over my shoulders, took a swig for strength, and then stepped out into the darkness. Mum had a small firebrand, which made her easy to follow, but I had no such luxury. I was locked to darkness. Every sound I made, I feared she would turn around. But she only had eyes. We passed something like a grave, but I had no time to dilly-dally. Mum was many steps ahead of me. I could feel the strength in me already sapping. Mum reached the top, and I hid behind a berry bush on the edge of the clearing. A tall, blue woman called Gale was waiting for my mother. They talked, and I could only make out fragments. And then Gale danced, without music.
Hannibus.
I feel like I'm collecting. Anyway, something odd, really odd, happened today. Mum brought me bread, long and wiggly like a snake or a Gothic symbol. And it looks healed. Like it's been there for, I don't know. Did she think I wouldn't notice? I didn't say anything in case she got angry again. And she treated me like I was 5.
Okay. Well, fill out what I have. Could- oh. Do not talk about.
Hannibus was the first to call her the Shade, the name that my friends use, even though I tell them not to. She would leave most evenings, up to the hilltop, and Hannibus would watch for as long as he could, before he reached the limit of his magic. Always, she would be in the same cloak. Always, she would head up the hill. The cloak would make her look like a shade, and each day, she would grow more hunched.
You mentioned something about the thing being.
She mentioned it. I didn't even bring it up. She said the scar was from a wizard at the wizard's tower. An accident, and she didn't feel safe going back. From now on, it's a big old bag of lies. It stinks. Not once did she look me in the eye. Ah! Oh, she's such an awful liar. It crossed my mind that the scar was just an excuse to stop going to the tower. Did she know about Sloop? Was this all to stop us talking to each other through the books? Oh, Sloop, what am I going to do now?
Were her and Sloop dating?
Sloop was the one who brought the news to us. Dad had run away from the wizard's tower. Something about plagiarism. Dad was always a reader. Never one to come up with ideas himself. I guess he just stole ideas from one of his old tomes. So, he left us to fend for ourselves. Left me with Mum. Just as I became ill. The worst part was Sloop. Without Dad, there was no reason for Sloop to be at the house anymore. Why would Dad's apprentice visit when Dad wasn't there? Mum wouldn't let him in. My love. My Sloop. So, he got work at the wizard's tower and passed notes in the books that Mum sold to him. But even that's gone now. I know that Sloop won't give up on me. I know he will come for me.
About these lies.
I began writing down the lies that Mum was telling me. Every day there was a new one. 1. The scar had come from an accident at the wizard's tower. 2. That she would invite Sloop to the house when she next saw him. 3. That we had plenty of money. 4. That there was no need for medicine anymore. My friends believe that she's not Mum anymore. They call her the Shade.
Out.
I returned to the house, flinging the cloak under my bed. My legs trembled with the night's effort. My friends asked where I had been, as if they didn't know. Thok, Hannibus, Barbar, Jilly, they all talked as if nothing had happened. Then Mum walked in, her silhouette filling and darkening the room. Mum leaned over me, kissed my cheek and whispered, "Happy birthday, little Primrose," before turning to leave. I reached below my bed for my cloak and searched in the pockets for the diary. I flicked to my birthday, and there it was. On the day before my birthday, there was only one entry. but on the day of my birthday there were multiple. I read each. She looks so much healthier. Every time I travel back, I forget how much healthier she looks. How traveling back? What have you done, Mom?
Mentioned that Gale. Yeah. Not music.
She was mesmerizing. Gale glowed as she danced, and a thread span from her, flicking high into the air before resting in place, as if she was drawing the constellations. Then, thread upon thread layered onto each other, until a woven dome formed over the top of them, and me. As she danced around, I thought she caught my eye. I hid my own eyes and skulked further behind the berry bush. But she danced. Lights flashed, centering on the needle, and then all was calm. Mum walked towards Gale, who looked exhausted, and laid a hand on her head. Gale said something to my mum, something about doubt. About me doubting her, perhaps. Gale flashed me a look. Whatever happened was coming to an end, and there was no time to linger. I shuffled away from the hilltop and caught a foot on a root, stumbling down to where the grave was before.
You.
As I rolled down the hill, desperate to get away, I came to rest where the grave was earlier. But it had gone. There was nothing here. Impossible. I clawed at the soil, thought better of myself, and then stumbled back towards the house. I remembered Gale's look, the one she gave me on the hilltop. It felt like she knew me.
That's all of
Prim, don't make me say. It's not a fun thing, not something that your mum has a diary.
But there wasn't a friend, Primmy.
Fuck knows something wrong. Fuck has fuck sense. We're your friends, Queen Primrose. She's bad, Prim. A wool jelly sort.
travel back into another 30 days. Last. Next time, we're gonna be back. On our way to chapter 3.